We now talk about the Ivorian President Alassane Ouattara, who announced yesterday he would not be running for a third term in the upcoming elections of October. Well, speaking before lawmakers, he said he believed power should be passed on to a younger generation. Joining us now by a phone call is Itia Bruno, a journalist and a political analyst. Well, last November, the Ivorian head of state said he will run for a presidency, a third term. Bruno, what do you think made the president change his mind?
Hello Gladys. Well, it is usually said that the only constant thing in life is change, and I believe that this applies perfectly with the announcement of Ivorian President Alassane Ouattara. Well, as you've mentioned, a couple of months ago, last November, President Ouattara announced his intention to run again for the upcoming presidential elections in the country. Now he's changed his mind, and you're asking me what could have accounted for that. Well, first things first, I believe that the upcoming elections, presidential election in Cote d'Ivoire, will be tense, especially given the fact that Ouattara's ruling party has split from his coalition partner, Konan Bédié's Democratic Party of Cote d'Ivoire. Now, I believe that the main reason why Alassane Ouattara has changed his mind about running for president again is because now I believe he has some sort of certainty in who is going to replace him. Remember, I believe it is an open secret that the person whom he will prefer to succeed him is Prime Minister Amadou Coulibaly. So last November, when Ouattara announced that he was going to run again for the next presidential elections in his country, he still had that fear that his preferred successor, Mr. Coulibaly, could be defeated by the new alliance that Guillaume Soro and Konan Bédié had formed. So now, given that Mr. Guillaume Soro has some problems with the law. Remember, the state prosecutor issued a warrant for his arrest, and this warrant effectively prevents Mr. Soro from returning to Cote d'Ivoire and compete in the upcoming presidential elections. So technically, this warrant discards Mr. Soro. And given that Mr. Guillaume Soro is practically or will be practically discarded from the elections, I believe Ouattara now sees or believes that, well, there will be no major or no significant contender, and he will have practically 6 months or so to prepare his preferred successor, Mr. Prime Minister Amadou Coulibaly, and why not have a clear shot at winning the presidency through his preferred successor, Amadou Coulibaly.
Now, Bruno, political unrest has been on the rise in recent months after the government issued an arrest warrant for Guillaume Soro. So how do you think his decision is going to affect the elections coming up in October? Do you speculate any other political crisis?
Gladys, I think a lot of things could determine whether or not there are going to be political unrest in the country. Now, the fact that there is an arrest warrant for Guillaume Soro that technically prevents him from returning to the country and consequently prevents him from competing or participating in the upcoming elections in Cote d'Ivoire is already a problem. That's already a problem that could cause political unrest in Cote d'Ivoire. Secondly, the decision of Ouattara not to represent himself in the upcoming presidential elections. Will that pose further political unrest? I don't really think so, because I think it is, on the contrary, it is good news. Good news in the sense that, remember, when some couple of months ago, that is last November, when he announced that he was going to run again for the elections of 2020 in his country, people were not really happy. A good number of the population was not happy with that, and people even went on the streets and demonstrated. Now, him now coming and saying that he's not going to go in for the next elections simply means that he's respecting the 2 terms limit, or the 2 terms mandate that the constitution provides. And by doing so, I don't really see how it's going to cause political unrest. Now, the political unrest could come probably after the declaration of the result. Probably if candidate A wins and candidate B refuses to accept the results, that is where political unrest can come. But I don't really think that it will necessarily come, or it could necessarily come, simply from Ouattara's decision not to stand again for the next elections.
Ouattara's two main rivals, that is Gbagbo and another former president, Henry Konan Bedi, have not yet declared if they will be candidates in October, but Ivorians are hoping that the next transfer of power will not start another serious unrest like that of 2011. What's your take on this?
Gladys, a country like Cote d'Ivoire has seen firsthand the price, the cost of political unrest. The 2010-2011 post-electoral crisis in Cote d'Ivoire has left its marks. A lot of Ivorians were killed. Over 3,000 people dead. That's huge, a huge loss. So, whatever happens, whoever comes to power next, I believe the Ivorians wouldn't want any bloodshed. The Ivorians will all want a peaceful transfer, a peaceful democratic transfer of power from Alassane Ouattara to his successor. So Laurent Gbagbo and Henry Konan Bedi, as you rightly said, have not yet voiced out on whether they will be candidates in October or not. But these are two people who have been president of Cote d'Ivoire. And I believe that, and this is just my own personal opinion, I believe that time has passed. They should let things be. They should allow the political field of Cote d'Ivoire into the hands of new actors. I think Laurent Gbagbo and Konan Bedi, they have had their times, they have had their moments. I believe they should just lay low and allow other actors to step forward. Who knows? Maybe the future of Cote d'Ivoire will be brighter with new faces, new, younger, energetic faces.
No, some time ago, Ouattara, in an interview with RFE, said under his rule, the country, Ivory Coast, has been doing very well, especially and progressing in all sectors of the country. What do you think are the legacies he's leaving for the younger generation that he wants to take over?
Gladys, Alassane Ouattara has left a pretty strong legacy, especially in the economic sector. I believe since 2012, the economy of Côte d'Ivoire has grown by at least 7%. And on 2 occasions, his country was ranked by the World Bank among the 10 most improved places to do business. That was in 2014 and in 2015. New roads have been constructed. His government, with support from the private sector, have spent considerably on infrastructure. So this shows just how much the world's top cocoa producer is faring in the economic sector under Alassane Ouattara. So in the economic domain, I believe that nobody of good faith will rank him low. But unfortunately, in other aspects of society, I believe he's not done really much. His government has been accused several times of cracking down on the opposition, and one of the most talked about cases being the warrant on Guillaume Soro, even though the government has said several times that the law is independent, the judicial system is independent, and that it is a state prosecutor.
Les femmes de la délégation régionale des enseignements secondaires de l'Ouest ont quitté la craie l'instant d'une journée pour présenter leur talent culinaire.
Les femmes de la délégation régionale des enseignements secondaires peuvent aussi présenter cette... Les régions sont représentées. Nous avons pensé que...
Well, so for you, Bruno, what should the new president after October's election bring to the table?
Digne de ce nom, des mets traditionnels du Cameroun.
Bruno, if you can get us, what should the new president after October's election bring to the table? Well, it seems the environment where you are, it's quite noisy. Thanks for contributing to today's program, and we hope to have you for more programs on CRTV News.
La célébration de la 30e